Hey there, all you Sondheimites! Welcome to Broadway by Ghostlight. I'm Mark Bonanni, and this past week I had the immense honor of seeing the glorious encore's production of Into the Woods with Heather Headley, Sarah Bareilles, Neil Patrick Harris, and many more incredible stars, including Brooke Ishibashi, who played one of the stepsisters, one of my oldest and dearest friends. We did theater together when we were in elementary school. Yay, Brooke! And I also got to see Marvel Studios' Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Two harrowing sagas of worlds once separated clashing together with awesome and devastating consequences.
Things just got out of hand.
And it got me thinking about parallel theater dimensions, where projects that never came to be were actually made, and what that might look like. And at the very top of that list of never were films is the proposed Into the Woods movie adaptation from the early 1990s. This beloved masterpiece musical went through not one, not two, but three insane readings with casts that would make Marvel's Illuminati's collective heads explode.
Too soon.
I'm going to break it all down for you today, plus reveal another incredible almost cast assembled for the 2014 Into the Woods film. So get your basket of sweets and magic beans ready, and let's head into the musical verse of madness. Into the Woods, of course, is the brilliant and cherished 1988 musical by Stephen Sondheim and James Lapine. The duo had written Sunday in the Park with George 4 years earlier and would write Passion together in 1994.
So everybody knows Stephen Sondheim, right? Everybody knows Passion, Stephen Sondheim's Passion, right?
Into the Woods is its own sort of multiversal tale, combining well-known fairy tale characters like Cinderella, Little Red Riding Hood, Rapunzel, Jack from Jack and the Beanstalk, and several more. Oh yeah, and I'm wearing my Into the Woods shirt for this video. Can you see? Reverse the curse. I love that shirt. Nerd! I'm assuming most of you know this show pretty well, but just in case, here is the entire musical. Yeah. Love that part. Everyone caught up now? Good. The original cast recording and pro shot capture of the original cast that you are just so graciously treated to are staples of theater kids, young and old, and the performances of Bernadette Peters, Joanna Gleason, Chip Zien, and the whole original Broadway cast are iconic, to say the least. But with how beloved the show is, it's always surprised me how a film version wasn't made until 26 years after the original Broadway production.
Yeah, that is odd, isn't it?
Well, my theater friends, I'm here to tell you it wasn't from a lack of trying. James Lapine actually took the idea of a film version to Disney shortly after the show opened on Broadway, but they were apparently not interested. The musical was eventually announced to be heading to the big screen in 1991, with filming expected to begin in late 1992. The project was spearheaded by the late great Craig Zadan. Zadan, who, along with his producing partner Neil Marin, produced not only feature films, among them the film adaptations of Chicago and Hairspray, and the television adaptations of Gypsy with Bette Midler and Cinderella with Brandy, but the pair also reinvented the live TV musical genre with Sound of Music Live, Hairspray Live, Jesus Christ Superstar Live, The Wiz Live, probably my favorite among the group, and Peter Pan Live. Yes, we have Zadan and Marin to thank for this.
Peter Pan has found a mother. Oh, yeah.
The duo were also executive producers of the TV show Smash. The script for the film was written by Lowell Gans and Babalu Mandel. This writing team, who have written together for over 50 years now, are responsible for some classic films like Splash, Parenthood, one of my all-time favorite movies, City Slickers, and A League of Their Own.
There's no crying in baseball!
The duo recently made their Broadway writing debut, adapting their film Mr. Saturday Night for the stage with Billy Crystal. This Into the Woods was going to be a joint venture with Zadan and Marin's Story Entertainment production company, Columbia Pictures, and Jim Henson Studios. Yes, we almost had Into the Woods featuring the Muppets.
What are you thinking about? Big name stars?
Well, actually, we're going to be the stars.
Now, before you get too excited or horrified, no, Kermit wasn't going to be the baker or Miss Piggy as the witch, though that kind of sounds awesome, right? It's not too late, Henson Studios. It's not too late.
Don't care how, I want it now.
Anyway, the Henson people would have been responsible for the animals and creatures in the musical, like Milky White, the golden egg-laying hen, probably the giant. They were also going to design and construct the sets, but all the speaking and singing characters would be humans. Now, before I dive into the incredible gaggle of actors brought together for these early table reads, I want to talk for just a little bit about some of the proposed changes to the musical.
I don't like change. I don't like it when things change.
Almost every screen-to-stage adaptation takes some liberties with the original material. Some only a little, and others quite drastically. These early Into the Woods drafts were somewhere in the middle, I'd say. Some of the significant changes, including the narrator/mysterious man character being cut. Rapunzel was no longer related to the baker and didn't give birth to twins. The first male giant didn't die after his initial fall and continued his rampage, replacing his giant wife in the stage version. And probably because this was more geared towards families, especially with the Muppets being involved, a lot of the more adult elements of Act 2 were significantly toned down. Most notably, it's revealed at the end that the baker's wife is not dead, but merely tricked the giant into thinking she was dead.
What a twist.
And everyone lives, for the most part, happily ever after. I also mentioned earlier that Stephen Sondheim wrote 2 new songs for this film treatment, and I happen to have a copy of the demo for those. I will share a bit of those songs and how they'd fit into the plot in just a bit, but first I want to talk about those incredible early table reads. The first table read with a potential movie cast occurred in Los Angeles. My guess is around 1993-1994. I was able to uncover 2 separate versions of the screenplay, and the first one is a first revised draft dated October 29th, 1992. I wasn't able to find out exactly when these first 2 table reads took place, so this is just my educated guess. But anyways, shut up about dates, Mark Bonanni, and get to the casting, am I right?
Oh, yes, God, yes.
So here is the first table read cast. The baker was played by Martin Short, Julia Louis-Dreyfus as the baker's wife, Neil Patrick Harris as Jack, which is kind of cool to see him as the baker now, Mary Steenburgen as Jack's mom, Cynthia Gibb as Cinderella, Kathy Najimy and Janine Garofalo as Florinda and Lucinda, Cinderella's stepsisters, Rob Lowe as Cinderella's prince, Daryl Hannah as Rapunzel, Christine Lottie as the witch, and Michael Jeter as the giant. Now, if that cast wasn't already mind-blowing enough, the second reading's cast was even more impressive, if you can believe that.
I don't believe it.
Now, Robin Williams took over the role of the baker with Goldie Hawn as his wife. Elijah Wood was Jack with Roseanne Barr as his mother. Mayim Bialik was Little Red. Moira Kelly was Cinderella with Bebe Neuwirth and Carrie Fisher as her stepsisters. Cinderella's prince was Kyle MacLachlan, and Brendan Fraser was Rapunzel's prince. Steve Martin played the wolf. Danny DeVito was the giant, which is genius casting. And for the witch, it's Cher, bitch.
Follow this show, you bitches.
I mean, come on. How much would you pay to see that movie with those 2 casts?
The limit does not exist.
Forget about it. Sondheim was quoted in 2010 as saying that the second table read was very good, and he remembered looking around and thinking, quote, "If a bomb drops on this house, half of Hollywood would be wiped out." Penny Marshall was attached as director in the early stages, with Rob Minkoff taking over in 1995. Minkoff had a history as an animator and animation director and co-directed The Lion King in 1994, among others. You know, that little film.
Never heard of it.
Now, some of you hardcore theater buffs and Sondheim devotees may have heard about those 2 table reads before. Sondheim himself mentioned them in his invaluable lyric collection. But I have uncovered another potential casting that I had not previously heard about.
And what we uncovered
may shock you.
In the second version of the screenplay I managed to get my little hands on, which is dated October 15th, 1996, the last few pages contain a cast list and a schedule for 2 days of audio recording. So I don't know if this was some sort of demo or something, or could this have possibly been potentially an animated version of the musical?
Damn it, I need to know, and I need to know now.
But here is that cast breakdown. Now the baker was played by Jason Alexander, with Bonnie Hunt as his wife. Lacey Chabert was Little Red, Matthew Lawrence was Jack, Daryl Hannah was still on as Rapunzel, but now also voiced Florinda, one of the stepsisters, along with Julie Brown. Courtney Thorne-Smith was Cinderella, John Stamos was Cinderella's prince, Michael York was the narrator, which wasn't present in any other versions of the screenplay, and for the witch, it says TBD. The rest of that cast was filled in with distinguished voice actors like April Winchell, probably most famous for voicing Clarabelle Cow, and Jim Cummings, whose voice is, to me, an instant warm hug.
Left and right, to and fro. And of course you have to get a smirkle of honey on the way.
In 1997, yet another cast was announced, though the only names we got were Billy Crystal as the baker, Meg Ryan as the baker's wife, and Susan Sarandon as the witch. But of course, nothing came of that or any of the other iterations. According to Sondheim, the movie was a casualty of a studio shakeup.
Explain.
Oftentimes, when a new big boss takes over a movie studio, they'll want to sort of clean house and make things their own. So often, as was the case with this, it was shopped around to other studios, but with no takers, the movie disappeared. Until 2003, when Rob Marshall, hot off the hit film version of Chicago, tried to get the film rights to Follies, or Sweeney Todd, but Sondheim suggested Into the Woods instead.
Go to the wood!
Marshall moved on from the idea eventually, but after then-President Barack Obama inadvertently quoted a line from the song No One Is Alone in his speech commemorating the 10th anniversary of the attacks on September 11th, it hit Marshall that this may be indeed the right time to head into the woods. To get that movie greenlit, another table read was held.
It's more?
Some of that cast would go on to actually appear in the final film, such as Anna Kendrick as Cinderella, Christine Baranski as her stepmother, and James Corden as the baker. The rest of the cast, however, was made up of Broadway favorites and legends.
Well, lay it on me, Studley.
Donna Murphy was the witch, which she had just played in the Shakespeare in the Park version that same year. Laura Osnes was Cinderella before she was Cinderella. Megan Hilty and Tammy Blanchard as her stepsisters. Victoria Clark took on the roles of Cinderella's mother / Little Red's granny and the giant. Nina Arianda was the baker's wife. Patrick Wilson was Cinderella's prince, Cheyenne Jackson was Rapunzel's prince, Taylor Trench as Jack, and Allison Janney as his suffering mother.
What a cast.
I mentioned earlier I had some demos for the new songs written for the early versions of the films. The first track I have is for a song called I Wish. It would have replaced the opening number, expanding it to include the whole village and their wishes, as well as our leading characters.
In a wide green valley lay a little village at the edge of the woods, and everybody in it was busy and cheerful and thriving and full of contentment, and yet beset with unfulfilled longings.
I wish my house was made of gold,
or as some would say, dreams.
I wish my well was filled with beer. I wish
my feet were not so cold.
I wish my cow were not so old.
I wish my son-in-law would disappear.
I wish I had more hair.
I wish.
The second new song is a wonderful duet for the baker and his wife called Rainbows. In it, the baker is disparaging about their current situation, and his wife is growing quite tired of his pessimism.
You're always expecting rainbows.
You're always expecting rain.
I used to expect a rainbow. It's no longer worth the pain. Can't sit around sighing for the dreams that won't come true.
The actual film version of Into the Woods eventually came out, of course, in 2014 by Disney, whom James Lapine first approached to make the film version over 30 years prior.
Well, better late than never.
And that, my witches, is the brief history of possibly one of the greatest stage-to-screen adaptations never made. Which cast would you have wanted to see in the final film? Let me know down in the comments. I love hearing from you guys. And please do that thing that YouTubers always beg for. Give this video a like, make sure you're subscribed, and if you did enjoy this video, consider giving it a share on all the socials.
Do it!
You can follow me at bwayghostlight. I do daily polls and other fun stuff there. But until next time, I'm Mark Bonanni. This is Broadway by Ghostlight. I'll see y'all next time.